I used to tell myself my hair just wasn't cooperating anymore. That was a lie I told myself for 2 years. The truth was, I was following advice that was quietly aging me. The kind of advice that sounds trendy and modern, but does the exact opposite of what it promises. Today I'm walking you through the hair trends that are working against you right now. The ones adding years to how you're read at a glance, and exactly what to ask for instead so your hair starts working with your face, not against it. I researched the worst style and beauty mistakes and the best fixes for women over 50 so you get real results fast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. I cover this every week. Part 1. The blunt, ultra-sharp bob that's trending right now. Every stylist's Instagram is flooded with the same cut lately. One length, razor-sharp edges, not a single soft piece anywhere near the face. It looks striking on a 25-year-old with dense hair and zero facial changes to work around. On a woman over 50, that same blunt line does something nobody warns you about. It draws a hard horizontal frame right where your face has softened the most, and a hard line next to a soft jaw makes the jaw look softer by comparison, not the hair look sharper. Here's what almost nobody explains about this. Your face doesn't just gain lines as you age. It loses volume in specific pockets, usually right along the jaw and beneath the cheekbone. A blunt line sits directly on top of that lost volume, and does nothing to disguise it. Worse, it removes the one thing that actually helps: movement. Movement is what pulls the eye away from a static line and toward life, toward expression, toward you. A perfectly blunt bob has no movement. It just sits there, and so does the eye, right on the part of your face you'd probably rather it skimmed past. I had a client, Rosalind, who came in wanting exactly this cut because her granddaughter had it and looked incredible. I asked her to trust me on one adjustment first. Instead of the blunt line, we kept the same length but added soft internal layering starting about 2 inches above the ends. Barely visible when it's down, but it completely changes how the hair moves. Here's exactly what to say in the chair. Keep the length, but I want interior layers cut with a razor, not scissors, starting a couple inches up, so the ends still look full but the hair actually moves when I turn my head. That single sentence is the difference between a stylist reaching for the blunt line playbook out of habit and a stylist actually cutting for your face. The mechanism is simple once you see it. Razor-cut interior layers remove weight without removing length, so the silhouette still reads as a bob, but individual pieces separate and catch light differently, which creates the appearance of movement even when your hair is sitting still. Movement reads as youth because young hair has natural elasticity and bounce that mature hair often loses. You're recreating that visual signal, not chasing it artificially. The results showed up almost immediately. Rosalind told me 2 weeks later that a woman at her book club asked what she'd done differently. Not what haircut she got, just that something was different, in a good way. That's the tell you're looking for. A cut that reads as younger doesn't announce itself as a haircut. It just makes people register you as more alive. The before and after here isn't really about length at all. That's what surprises most women. Before, one length blunt bob, hard edge sitting exactly on the jaw. After, same length, same basic shape, but razor-textured interior layers that let the ends separate naturally. Same haircut on paper. Completely different face in the mirror. If you've been sitting in the chair asking for the trendy blunt cut, because it looks incredible on younger faces online, that request alone might be quietly working against you every single time you leave the salon. But the blunt bob isn't the only trend doing this. There's a coloring mistake happening at the same time that's arguably even more common, and it's one you're probably not even aware is a trend at all. Part 2. The flat, single-process color everyone's requesting. There's a color trend right now that sounds sophisticated when you say it out loud. One solid, rich, all-over color. No highlights, no lowlights, just one uniform shade from root to end. It photographs beautifully on Instagram under studio lighting. It does something very different under the lighting in your actual kitchen, your actual office, the actual room where people actually see you. Flat, single-process color does the opposite of what dimension does. Your natural hair, even in your 20s, was never actually one color. It had subtle variation from sun exposure, from the way strands catch and lose light differently depending on thickness and direction. That variation is part of what reads as natural to the eye, even when nobody's consciously analyzing it. When you flatten all of that into one uniform tone, you remove a signal your face has relied on your whole life. And hair without light variation tends to sit heavier and flatter against the face than hair with dimension, even at the exact same length and cut. There's also a color-specific problem nobody mentions. Flat, dark, all-over color creates more contrast against aging skin than dimensional color does, and higher contrast draws more attention to texture changes in the skin, not less. Women think going darker and more solid will look more polished. Often it just makes every line on the face more visible by comparison. The same way a hard blunt edge makes a jaw look softer. Here's the fix, and here's exactly what to say in the chair. I don't want one flat color. I want a low-maintenance dimensional color. A base shade with 2 or 3 subtly lighter pieces woven in around my face, placed to catch light, not create obvious stripes. That phrase, placed to catch light, tells your colorist you want a technique called face framing balayage or foliage, painted freehand rather than foiled in rigid sections, so the lighter pieces land exactly where natural light would hit if the color were real. I watched this play out with a woman named Colette who'd been getting the same flat medium brown color for 6 years, because it was easy. We shifted her to a soft dimensional base with warm caramel pieces framing her face, nothing dramatic, nothing that required more than her usual 6-week maintenance schedule. She told me afterward that her daughter-in-law asked if she'd lost weight. She hadn't changed a single thing about her body. The dimension around her face softened the contrast enough that the whole face read as lighter, lifted, less severe. And people register that shift as something changed even when they can't name what. The snapback moment here matters. This isn't more maintenance. Done correctly, dimensional color grown out looks intentional rather than obviously regrown, because the lighter pieces are already positioned where new growth naturally shows first. Flat, single-process color, on the other hand, shows a hard demarcation line at the root within 3 to 4 weeks, which is its own quiet aging signal. Visible regrowth reads as neglected far faster on flat color than on dimensional color. Before, flat, heavy, single-process color with a hard root line waiting to show. After, dimensional, face-framing color that grows out softly and photographs the way real hair actually looks in real light. Same time in the chair, same cost range, completely different result on your actual face in your actual life. I'll tell you the part almost nobody says out loud. The flat color trend isn't really a hair trend at all. It's a photo editing trend that got mistaken for a real-life one. And there's a third trend just like it. One that looks perfect in a still photo and works against you the second you move, laugh, or turn your head. Part 3. The rigid, overly sculpted Salon Fresh set. You know the look. Hair that comes out of the salon looking flawless, sits in one shape, doesn't shift, doesn't move, survives a car ride perfectly intact. It's marketed as the gold standard of a great blowout. What it actually signals, the moment you step out into real life and your hair still isn't moving 3 hours later, is that the style is being held together by product and heat rather than by the cut itself. Here's the part that surprises most women. Hair that moves reads as younger than hair that doesn't, independent of length, color, or cut. It's one of the strongest subconscious age cues there is, because natural elasticity and bounce are things hair genuinely loses over time, and heavily set, rigid styling doesn't disguise that loss. It exaggerates it, by taking whatever movement is left and locking it down completely. You end up looking, at a glance, like you're wearing a wig even when every strand is your own. There's a mechanical reason this happens. An overly sculpted set relies on heavy hold product and hot tool styling that coats each strand and stiffens it, which flattens the natural light reflection along the hair shaft. Hair that moves catches light differently at different angles as you turn your head, and that flicker of changing light is part of what reads as alive. Rigid, heavily set hair reflects light the same way from every angle because nothing about it is shifting, and static light reflection reads, even subconsciously, as older and less vibrant. The fix isn't a different style, it's a different finishing approach, and here's exactly what to say at your next appointment. Blow me out with a round brush for shape, but finish with a lightweight, flexible hold product, not a heavy hold spray, and don't overset it with a curling iron afterward. I want it to still move when I touch it. That single request shifts the entire finish from sculpture to shape with give. And it's a request most stylists are relieved to hear, because heavy hold finishing is often done out of habit, not because it's actually the better choice for you. Diane came to me convinced her stylist's tight, sprayed set was the reason her hair always looked done. When we switched her final step to a lightweight mousse worked through with fingers instead of a flat set spray, she was nervous it would look less finished. It looked more finished, because it looked like it belonged to a person instead of a photograph. The snapback moment came at her grandson's birthday party 2 weeks later. He ran up, hugged her, buried his face in her hair the way kids do, and for the first time in years she didn't flinch and think about her hair getting ruined. It couldn't be ruined. It just fell back into shape, because the shape was built into the cut, not glued on with product. That's the real distinction worth understanding. A cut with genuine internal shaping, layers, texture, a line that's built to move, holds its form through motion. A cut that's flat or blunt with no internal movement has to be forced into shape externally every single time, which is exactly why it looks rigid. You're not choosing between put together and messy. You're choosing between hair that's built to move and hair that's being prevented from moving. Before, sprayed, sculpted, motionless hair that looks perfect in a still photo and dated the moment you move. After, shaped, flexible, lightweight finished hair that still looks done, but looks like it's actually attached to a living, moving person. There's one more trend left, and it might be the one you're most surprised to see on this list, because it's the one dressed up as the low-maintenance, natural choice. Part 4. The wash and go no-layer trend that's actually aging you. This is the one that catches women off guard, because it's marketed as the effortless low-fuss, embrace your natural texture choice, grow everything out to one length, skip layers entirely, let it air dry done. It sounds freeing. For a lot of mature hair, it's quietly doing more damage to how you're read at a glance than almost anything else on this list, because it ignores something specific that happens to hair texture and density as we age. Hair density naturally decreases with age, most noticeably at the crown and through the mid-lengths, and diameter per strand often thins as well. One uniform length with zero layering does something counterproductive with thinning hair specifically. It pulls all the remaining weight at the very bottom of the hair, which drags the ends down flat and leaves the crown, where you actually need the appearance of fullness, looking sparse and flat by comparison. The natural no-fuss length isn't natural at all for hair that's changed texture. It's just gravity working against you with nothing built in to counteract it. The mechanism worth understanding here. Layering isn't about creating a style. It's about redistributing weight. Strategic layers cut through the crown and mid-length remove just enough weight from those areas that the hair sitting there can actually stand up and create the appearance of volume, while the length at the ends stays intact enough to still read as long, flowing hair if that's what you want. Without that redistribution, every ounce of remaining hair weight pulls straight down. And flat at the crown is one of the fastest visual age signals there is, because it directly mirrors what's happening to density anyway. No-layer styling doesn't hide that change, it amplifies it. Here's exactly what to say in the chair if this is you. I don't want a dramatic layered look, I want invisible layers, cut through the crown and mid-lengths so there's lift at the root, but kept subtle enough that it still reads as one length when it's down. This phrasing matters because it tells your stylist you're not asking for a trendy shag or a heavily layered cut. You're asking for structural weight removal that most people won't even clock as layers. They'll just notice your hair looks fuller. Marguerite had been wearing the exact same one-length cut for over a decade, convinced layers would make her look older, not younger, because she associated heavy layering with an outdated look from years ago. We compromised on the invisible layering approach. Nothing dramatic, just weight removed at the crown and through the midsection. The difference showed up the very first time she air-dried it at home instead of having it professionally styled. It had lift at the root without her doing anything. She texted me a photo 2 days later just to say her hair finally looked like it used to. And what had actually changed wasn't her hair returning to some earlier state. It was the weight distribution finally matching what her current density could actually support. The result compounds too. Hair with proper weight redistribution holds volume through the day, because there's no longer excess weight constantly pulling it flat. One length, no-layer hair looks fine for the first hour after styling and then collapses, because gravity has nothing working against it. That collapse over the course of a day is its own quiet signal. Hair that looks great at 9 in the morning and flat by lunch reads differently than hair that holds its shape. even if most people watching couldn't tell you exactly why. Before, one flat length, all the remaining weight pooled at the ends, crown pressed down against the scalp. After, the same essential length, but with invisible structural layering that lets the crown lift and the whole style hold its shape for hours instead of collapsing by noon. 4 trends down, and every single one shared the same quiet flaw. Each one looked right in a photograph and worked against you the moment real life, real light, and real movement got involved. You now know the 4 trends quietly working against you. And more importantly, you know exactly what to say in the chair to fix every single one. From razor-cut interior movement instead of a blunt line, to dimensional color that grows out gracefully, to a flexible finish that lets your hair actually move, to invisible layering that gives your crown the lift it's been missing. None of this requires more upkeep or a dramatic change. It just requires asking for the version that actually works with the hair you have now. Which one of these 4 were you doing without even realizing it? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Next week I'm breaking down the skincare habits that are quietly aging your neck and hands faster than your face. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.